Hi, welcome back to this channel. I'm Ali Reza and today I'm going to show you another workflow from N8N. So this workflow is quite cool because it's going to manage my Gmail inbox, and some of the components I used in this workflow, I have created a video before for that, so separately I covered those topics, but today I'm going to combine them into one product, and that is Inbox Management AI Agent. So in this product, as you can see on the screen, I also separated them just to make them nice and also organized. So we start with the trigger. As always in N8N workflows, we start with trigger, and then we have the email classifier. That the classifier is just classify your email messages into different categories, and normally we know them in Gmail as labels. As you can see, at Gmail we have customer support, high priority, invoices, meetings, scheduling, and that's what I'm going to focus in this video. In this video I chose 3 of those categories, and those are invoices, high priority, customer support. So the next part is the creating reply. In the creating reply, we are using the OpenAI model to creating reply or draft email for the certain messages we have. And on the next phase, we're gonna either send those messages to the customers, or we can save the message inside draft folder. And that's also quite interesting for the use cases that you want to have a human in the loop and you don't want necessarily to send an email before your review. So we're going to do that also here, and we're going to cover that. And the last part is the notification. So that's also really cool because in many of the workflows you want to notify the user, right? So you get the message, you get some updates, you might get some inputs, you might generate the image and send it to the user. There are lots of different interactions that we can create, and with the notification also we can create like a chatbot that used to notify a user. And in this case we're going to use Telegram. And why Telegram? Because Telegram is quite cool, it's quite free, really easy to set up, really easy to use. It's available on most platforms like iPhone, like Android, and it's very easy to also connect it to different workflows. And that's the reason that I chose Telegram. I also covered setting up Telegram with N8N workflow in another video. I'm gonna also leave all links and share all of them with you, just to make sure that if you haven't watched those videos, you can actually find them. And at the end of this tutorial, you're gonna also get the all actually components here into one template, and you can download the template from the school community. I have a school community there that we are working together with the other practitioners that they are interested into AI. And if you're really interested to become a future AI expert, probably you should actually join that community as well. So let's dive into this workflow and see how it works. This video is different from the step-by-step video because in this video I already created a full workflow. So I'm gonna just walk you through the configurations and the settings, but it's very easy also to follow, and it's very straightforward because many of these components I already covered in other videos extensively, so you can follow them there. But because I'm also providing the workflow for you, then you can just download the workflow and try it in your side with changing just the credentials, and that's not going to be really difficult. So I'm going to start with the invoices, and with each actually category we're going to also have a look different components and nodes and see how things are working in this workflow. I also added my personal Telegram assistant here. That's the assistant that I created with Telegram. You can create a bot in Telegram easily with some messages, and as I said, that is already covered in another video that you can see it on the screen, and also you can see it on the description as well. So now I have everything ready. Now the only thing I need is to test the invoices, is to send an email to my email, just what happens in a daily life, that you get an email from your customer, and then that email is going to trigger the Gmail trigger here. So I'm going to send an email to this inbox just to make sure that we're going to trigger the Gmail trigger. This is the sample email I drafted here. With this sample email, what we are doing is just sending an email and asking a follow-up on one of the invoices. So I'm going to send this email So I received this email in this inbox, which is connected to the workflow. Now I go back to the workflow, and if I run the workflow, what's gonna happen is gonna check the inbox, and if there is a new email, it's gonna pull the email and classify that email, and we will see immediately what's gonna happen. Let's run that workflow. Now, as you can see, it goes to the invoices, and then immediately I got a message on the personal assistant. As you can see, this branch worked successfully. Now let's have a look and see what happens. Before going to the workflow, let's look at the result here. As you can see, we received the email, and this is the content of the email placed here in the chat. Also, we replied this email with the auto reply, and we also created the email there. So let's have a look to the whole flow and see what happened. In the text classifier, if I open that up, as you can see in the text classifier, what happened is that we have here some categories defined, and on each category we also mentioned the description of each category. If I open one of them, maybe I just open the invoices part because it's relevant. In the invoices part, what we have here, we say classify emails as invoices if they contain billing information, receipts, payment confirmations, or requests for payment, and also other things that might be relevant. So this is how we can give some information to the model to decide about each email to find the right category or label for that. So based on that, as you can see, the result here was, let me just find out, the result here was the invoices branch. We can see that the different branches here, and the result was the invoices branch. So now the next thing is to create a reply email for that. And for the reply email, we created a message model. In the message model, what we have here is actually the prompt to tell the model what kind of message you want to create. It's very simple because with the OpenAI model or any other models, you need just to give some instructions to your model to tell the model what the model should do with the incoming text or message. And in this case, we said you're an executive assistant. Your job is to respond to incoming high priority inquiries as accurately as you can. So basically, the invoices and financial part is also considered as the high priority. But anyway, so in this way, we can also define the tone of the message. And here also I put the signature that I wanted to have in my message. And as you can see, the generated message here is exactly what I wanted. It also ended up with the same signature as I expected. So before I move on to the next step, what I wanted to say is about the credentials here. In most of my videos, I already covered the credentials for the OpenAI, and hopefully you're already familiar with that. But if not, it's pretty simple. You need to go to the OpenAI API platform and create an API key, and there, when you get the API key, you just copy and paste it here, and then you should be fine. Otherwise, you can watch one of my OpenAI videos with N8N, and there you can actually find the relevant information. Probably I'm gonna put that link in the description just to make sure if it's your first time that you watch these kind of tutorials. So one thing else is I want to tell you, it's about the Gmail credentials. And as you might already noticed in the reference tutorial links, I also mentioned about the Google credentials. So this is also one of the things that is becoming a little bit difficult for many new users into the AI automation world. Probably you're coming from different backgrounds, and maybe it's the first time for you to create this kind of workflows, and creating an API, credentials, and authentication might be quite difficult for you. So basically I created a quick tutorial to give you enough information about how to set up the Google credentials. I would really suggest to watch that tutorial because it helps you to set up Google credentials once, and then you can just use them in different N8N workflow that you are creating. So the next part is the auto-reply. This is pretty straightforward that you can actually set up very quickly. You just add the the Gmail node, and then you just configure it for your reply operation. As you can see, there are different operations here to delete, get many, reply, remove label, and etc. So here is a reply, and you need just to configure the thread ID, and then thread ID means that we want to just reply to the same email that we got, right? And then that's why it's better to find it from the invoices. If you open the invoices from here, you can actually find the thread ID, and you can just drag it here. So I can maybe remove this one just to show you. So this is how it works. We just drag it here, and then it's nicely placed here in a parametric way. This is the ID, the actual ID. But the good thing with the N8N is when you drag it from here to the expression here, it's not placed, it doesn't place the number, rather place the expression to just make it dynamic. So it's the same for the message, and also this message is also the message we generated from OpenAI model, and then we place it here. Nice. And the last step is also get the notification. With the notification, we are gonna send the notification to user on Telegram. So for that, what you need to have is two things. Actually, you need to configure the Telegram credentials. You need also to add the chat ID here, and this chat ID is also referring to the assistant you have here. So you also configure the message here. For example, for this particular notification, I wanted to add the original message, and then I wanted also to put the reply that we sent to the user. This way we are able not only say, okay, what was the email we got, we also can mention, okay, what was the reply that we sent to the user. And as you can see, this is exactly reflects what you saw earlier on the Telegram side. So this was the whole flow for the invoices part, and now we can actually try the high priority branch and see what happens if we get an email that is a high priority based on the context of the email. So for that, what we need to do, we need to actually go here and compose new email. I want to send a new email to this inbox just to make sure that we're going to process high priority. Before that, probably it's good to see that email that classified. You can also see it on the relevant label that shows that how this workflow also works behind the scene on the email as well. So let's fire up another email for the high priority. This is a sample of a high priority email that you might get, for example, and in this email it's clearly mentioned an action required. It's for the document that should be reviewed and probably should be signed or something. So, and let's just send this email and see what happens. So now we got this email, and it clearly mentions that action required. Let's go to the workflow, and here, as you can see, the second branch is the high priority. If the workflow works properly, if we run the execute workflow, we should really get this branch here. Let's see. As I expected, this branch is actually activated, and as you can see, immediately we got the message on Telegram assistant channel. This is including the original message, that this was the original message. And also here from the workflow, it says we have created a draft with the subject, urgent, NDA, whatever, it's there. So we can actually have a look to the draft. Let's have a look to the draft. First of all, the high priority message is labeled properly here. You can see it. And then if you go to the draft email, you can see the draft email is actually created here. So we just need to put the email and just send it back to the customer. It is also possible to put the email from the incoming message and put it there, but that's not for this tutorial, but you can easily configure that in your workflow. So let's go back to the workflow. From the text classifier, as you can see, this time this branch was activated, high priority branch. And if you look at the high priority branch, we have defined some criteria that what kind of messages or emails are considered as high priority, and simple as just defining some criteria. So in your side, you can define different categories, and for each category you need to define the description and the criteria for that, or the phrases, words, and things that might actually relevant to that category. and then model can actually decide if that message or email that came to your inbox is considered for that label or category. So this is considered for high priority, and the next step is to create a draft reply, and this is simple as just defining another instruction for the OpenAI, asking for creating a reply for the email. There are many emails like this that sometimes when we get an email, we want to acknowledge that we received an email and we're going to come back to the customer. So it depends to your situation. These instructions can be completely different and customized. So this also seems similar as the previous one, so I'm not going to go to more details. And the only difference here we have is that previously we did send email back to the customer, but here we just created a draft email, so we didn't send it back right away. We just waited for the admin just to review and then send it himself or herself. So basically here we use another Gmail node, and in this case we say the draft and operation is create. The rest is the similar as the previous nodes with the one difference. The difference is in the previous time we had to define the thread ID because we were replying to the existing email message, but here we just want to create a new email message, and that's why we need to create a subject, and we just need to add the message here. If you want to add more options, you can add more options like BCC, CC, and other things here. And the last thing is also the notification. So the notification here is also similar as the previous one. It's based on the type of the branch, you can just customize your notification here. So the last one is the customer support. The last branch is also similar to the first branch. The only difference is the category here. This time we're gonna get an email related to the customer support, and it's a customer support related email. So I'm gonna go back to the inbox. So the next email I'm gonna expect to be picked up by the customer support label, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna compose another email to send to this inbox to trigger the Gmail workflow. So this is a sample of customer support email. So I'm gonna send this email to the inbox. So I received this customer support email. Now what I'm expecting from the workflow is to pick this up as a customer support and put the label to this email. Currently it's not labeled yet. Let's go back to the workflow and run the workflow and see what happens. So we run the workflow. Now the third branch is activated, and it shows that the customer support branch is also working properly. I also got the result here in Telegram channel. I put the Telegram channel beside my workflow here, but I'm also getting it on my mobile. But here it's really interesting because I can also show you right away. So as you can see, this is the message we got, and this is the reply we created and send it back to the customer. And let's have a look to the email text classifier here. So in the text classifier here, this time the third branch is actually activated, the customer support. And if I open the customer support here, with the customer support, we classify emails as customer support if they come from customers or users seeking help, reporting issues, etc. So this is also similar as the previous categories, that we just find the relevant actually topics, phrases, words, and things that create a context as a customer support. So you need to give this context to the model, and then model can actually easily categorize your email based on that. So the next step is creating reply, and this reply is to send a response to the incoming customer support. We just want to tell the customer that yeah, we are getting back to you, but this is also really good acknowledgement from the department just to show the customer that okay, we received your email, we're gonna take a look and we get back to you. So, and sometimes we also can actually give some already hints or help to the customer, and for that you might need maybe to connect your agent to your RAG solution, and in that case you don't need to come back to the situation later. You can actually already give the customer some information, and then if the customer was not happy, the customer comes back to you, and then you can have a follow-up on that. So these are the things that you can do with the agents, and they're really interesting. We forgot to see that the label, the label is already actually assigned to the message, which is really cool. So the reply already generated here, and now what we did on the next step is to send a reply. This is exactly similar as the previous one that we did on the invoices part. And as you can see here, we need to define the thread ID because we are replying to an existing email, and the rest is the same. And the notification is also, we already saw it. So in this part, we put the original message and also the reply. All right, here also I put the 3 links to classify email, Google credentials, and how you can create an AI chatbot with Telegram. This is the end of this tutorial. If you like the tutorial, subscribe to this channel. You can join the school community and also spend more time with AI practitioners. There I can have also time to personally help you in your workflow. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.